Check your thermostat right now, maybe it says 68 or 72 degrees. You set it once and forgot about it, enjoying the stable warmth. But for 300,000 years, your ancestors faced a brutal winter problem. They had no insulation, no walls, just bare hands and animal bones. A modern human would die within hours in that unforgiving ice age cold. So how did they not just survive, but truly thrive in the freeze? The answer will permanently change how you look at your own home. Let us start with what the extreme cold actually felt like back then. Imagine minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit sweeping across the Eurasian steppe. It is the kind of cold where exposed skin dies in mere minutes, where breathing hurts and the wind actively hunts you down like prey. A modern person dropped there without gear would die before sunrise. We always picture shivering cave people hunched around a tiny fire. But modern archaeology tells a completely different story of engineers. Here is the first thing history got wrong: they mostly did not live in caves. In Russia, researchers found massive circular depressions deep in the soil. Tool marks prove these pits were deliberately excavated by ancient hands. At 8 feet below the surface, the ground stays 30 degrees warmer. Your clever ancestors did not fight the cold, they went right below it. Real sophistication emerged 26,000 years ago in the Czech Republic. Archaeologists uncovered winter shelters built with multiple precise layers. The innermost layer was animal fur, trapping warm air against bodies. Outside that was dried grass and moss to wick freezing moisture away. The outermost layer used woven mats of reed and bark to block the wind. This was not primitive guesswork, it was deliberate thermal engineering. It follows the exact same principles as the insulation in your walls today. They used hide, moss, and bark, but the structural physics were identical. In Ukraine and Russia, researchers discovered something truly shocking. They found actual engineered buildings constructed from mammoth bones. Mammoth skulls weighing over 200 pounds were used as foundation blocks. Curved tusks were arranged to form strong, dome-shaped frameworks. Hundreds of smaller bones filled the gaps, providing vital support. The entire structure was covered in heavy, stitched mammoth hides. This is not basic survival instinct, this is advanced architecture. A mammoth bone house kept the inside 50 degrees warmer than the outside. Using only modest fires, it matched modern Arctic engineering shelters. Stone Age builders matched the performance of our best industrial foam. But none of this worked without the ultimate system: controlled fire. Fire was the entire operating system of ancient, Ice Age winter life. A large central hearth provided the primary heat for the main space. In the treeless steppe, wood was scarce, so they engineered new fuel. They processed dried mammoth dung and bone to maximize burn efficiency. Chemical analysis shows these fuels were treated for specific heat outputs. They were managing their limited fuel like a highly precious resource. Without airflow, moisture from breathing freezes and destroys the structure. Ancient designs used low openings to pull fresh, cold air inside. Larger openings at the apex allowed trapped, wet air to safely escape. But what happened inside these shelters after the sun went down? For hundreds of thousands of years, humans did not sleep like we do. They slept into distinct phases with a wakeful period in between. They slept for 4 hours, woke for 2, then slept for more hours. This was the default human sleep pattern before artificial light arrived. During the day, 80% of ancient talk was about survival logistics. But at night around the campfire, 81% of talk was stories. The campfire was the original theatre and the first human classroom. Famous Venus figurines were mostly discovered inside these winter shelters. The iconic cave art of this period was created during long winter months. The art that defined our species was made by firelight in bone houses. Building a single mammoth bone house took weeks of intense group labour. Construction had to begin in late summer, long before the frost arrived. These people were proactive planners with seasonal calendars in their heads. Food storage was equally engineered using the freezing environment. Underground chambers in the permafrost served as natural refrigerators. Meat remained frozen and accessible even during the worst winter storms. Their clothing worked on the same composite layer principles as shelters. Multiple layers of wolf, fox, and Arctic hare fur were stitched together. The inner layer trapped heat, while the outer layer shed biting wind. It was the same physics as a modern jacket, 25,000 years before Gore-Tex. At the end of the Ice Age, this complex knowledge was slowly abandoned. As the climate warmed, these specialized skills became unnecessary. Nowadays, research facilities in the Arctic are constructing this type of architecture. Disaster relief organizations adapt these techniques for emergency use. The stories you tell your children are direct descendants of those myths, told by ancient firelight in a bone house on a completely frozen steppe. You did not invent warmth, you inherited it from brilliant engineers. They had nothing but cold time and a fierce refusal to die. Next time the cold comes, remember what it caused to get here. And understand just how blissful it is for the first time in your life to be enveloped in warmth.